Hi, Reconcilers. Reverend Reagan here. I wanted to say thank you for all the love and support and prayers that you sent my way last week while I was sick. I'm feeling much better and am back in the saddle here at the office. I'm sitting in our beautiful garden as we prepare for a wonderful weekend that I want to invite you to. We, of course, have services at 8 and 10:30 a.m. Between those two services, we have two class options. One is for older teens and adults, and that will be following along with Contemplative Living with Thomas Merton, a book study. And this is the first week that they are kicking that off. And so if that interests you, this week is a great time to start that class. It's a wonderful group. It's going to be a fantastic time. I invite you as well to Brown Hall for an all ages class, and we'll be looking at some godly play stories, a little bit of poetry writing, and just some good faith sharing about who we are individually and who we are called to be as disciples of Jesus, and who we're called to be as a community of reconciliation here in San Antonio. So I invite you to join us for one of those two classes at 9:15. Of course, during the 10:30 service, 4-year-olds through 4th grade are invited to Godly Play, and our youth group members, 5th through 12th grade, are invited to the rec room at 11:45 a.m. for lunch, formation, and fellowship. So I hope you will plan to join us. We also always have great coffee hour, thanks to our wonderful hospitality teams. So come join us for worship, for formation, and for some great fellowship. I wanted to share with you a little story, which I hope will be a blessing on your day. I felt called to the priesthood for the first time, which I didn't know it at the time. Looking back, I realized it was the first time I felt called to the priesthood when I was 14, and I was acolyting. So I was sitting kind of behind the altar a little bit, and my sending rector lifted up the bread and broke it, which was called the fraction. And in that moment, that sort of crisp, we're using wafers, so it's this really crisp, crackly sound. I just had this moment of awe where I thought, I want to feed people like that in this, and at the time thought, this beautiful circle, right? Which matches our sanctuary being in a circle. And that was the first time looking back that I really did feel called to ordained ministry. But I found that throughout my life, I have found other fraction moments, times when God has broken open into the world right in front of me. And one of the times that happened was in seminary. And many of you have probably seen these acorns around San Antonio. They're also all over Austin. These are actually from my campus seminary. And during the fall, they start falling on the ground, and they would cover the sidewalks. And so one of the things, inevitably, as you are walking around, you're crunching these under your feet, and they make that crisp, crackly sound, just like that wafer at the fraction. And so I wrote a poem about the fraction, and I hope that it brings you some joy and God's presence today. Ordinary fractions. I found your sound again today, the crisp breaking open of love. I thought it was only accessible on Sunday morning altars, but I found it one year in the crunch of crisp spring snow, the white blanket marked by 2 feet praying the fraction. Today it was the acorn, giving itself in remembrance, that made me look like a fool, dancing in order to behold. From every family, language, people, and nation, a kingdom of priests to serve. May we never take ourselves so seriously that we fail to recognize an invitation to your table. So my wish for you today is that you find an ordinary fraction, and that it finds you, that God breaks God's self open to you in beautiful and new ways throughout this week, and as we journey together as Church of Reconciliation.